Okay, I think we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm going to check my page really quick before I do introductions and we get going, just to make sure we are good and everything is on point, because StreamYard does like to see it's on lock. It's the privacy is on lock. So the only person that could see it is me.
Oh no. For now.
Yeah, it's so weird. So I'm fixing it right now. So here we go. And it should allow me to share it now. Let's figure it out. So stick with us, everybody. We're gonna get started in 1 second. We just want to make sure that everything is good on our side. I can share it to I can share it to you, to your messenger, Linda, and then you could share it on your page
Okay.
too. I just sent it right there. Um, yeah. So it's on all kinds of platforms, and then we can even share it later. Uh-oh, where'd you go?
I'm here.
I don't see. Oh, there you go. Okay, I didn't see. All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Chandra Brooks, founder of the Powerhouse Academy and the Powerhouse Women. If you don't know who I am already, I am here interviewing one of my clients, Dr. Amazing Powerhouse Linda Laura. As you see, she is an amazing, fantastic person. You can just tell by her colorful shirts and her hair and just her personality. I loved working with her, and she created a huge movement for women. And I want to talk about it today, and I want to share kind of how we started working together, and kind of where it has come from, from the initial conversation to where it is now. Kind of your story, your background. So, Dr. Linda Laura, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and the background, and what you do?
Hey Chandra, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Uh yeah, I'm so honored. I just love everything about you
Thank you. Thank you.
and how you help me. My background is me and my husband are pastors of Star David Church, and we decided that we were going to help people become the best versions of themselves, whether it be spiritually, mentally, emotionally, however we could do that. So me and my husband, we have been married 49 years. We're going on our 50th year. Next year we'll be married 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's,
Congratulations.
girl, that's not the miracle. The miracle is I'm only 25. Okay.
Right. You are. That's true. It's a fact.
So yeah, we had, we were born in the east side of San Jose, did all the, you know, that scene,
Yeah.
the drugs, the partying, all that.
Yeah.
We got touched by God, and he totally changed our lives 100%. And when he changed our lives, he changed our family's life too.
Yeah.
So our whole life has changed. I have 4 children. I have 14 grandchildren, 2 great grandsons, and we're living our best life ever since, God changed our lives and we got into the ministry, and we just decided we're going to give it all. We gave everything we had to the devil, right? So how much more could we give to God? And
Yeah.
so we run hard 24/7, whatever it is to help people, get off that wrong track and get into the right track in any area of their life. That's
Mhm.
what we do.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm just amazed on how you and Pastor move every day. I'm like, you guys make me tired just looking. And people say I'm busy, but the way you guys move and the things that you do every single day for the people, it's just for the people. You
Yeah.
guys are just living in God's purpose and doing things. And I'm sure, and I know that the energy comes from Him,
Of
right? It's
course.
the only way possible that you guys could really accomplish the things that you guys have been able to accomplish every single day. I'm not saying just like, no, every day they are
And
out there with the people and doing something, both of them. So I know, coming up in East San Jose myself, I knew of Pastor Sonny Laura, right? I would hear about him at the city. I was in nonprofit work. I heard about the work of the organization and about the work that he's doing. He'd be at different events speaking and different things. But I didn't know you, right? I didn't know about you, but I knew about him. And so when I think we met when we did a magazine, which is behind me, that
Yeah.
magazine, right? We
Yeah.
did that magazine thing together,
Uh-huh.
and that's where we met initially, right?
Right. Right.
And we were both featured in that magazine story, and we just started talking. And then I don't know if we started following each other or how it came about to work together. Do you remember, like, kind of how that happened?
Yeah, we just started following each other, and I
Mhm.
started seeing all the, the awesome work you were doing as a, as a coach, helping other ladies, fulfill their dream and expand their vision. That's really where I needed help.
Mhm.
I already knew what I was doing, but I needed someone to help me expand it. And girl, you did that in the first 30 minutes of the first. I'm all okay.
Right? And you know what? And you know all about this, right? Living in your gift. I've been able to figure out my gift, and my gift is to be able to hear what you have to say on your vision and really help execute it, right? Help make sense of it, right? I think a lot of us have a big vision, but we don't know how to kind of put it together to implement it, right? To implement it and make it happen. We see the big picture, but it's just like, okay, how do I put these pieces together? So you ended up reaching out. We met at the Capitol Club,
Yeah,
and we mapped out what the Do You program would look like. I
that's right.
think you had that already hashtag already, or you had an idea what that was going to look like, but you weren't sure how you could serve people with that. How could
Right.
you get it started, right? How can you create your own movement similar to Powerhouse, but your own? Like, what is that going to look like, right? With your own direction, because I feel like we all have a certain thing that God gave us to do, right? What was yours that was different? What was yours that was different was faith based, right? Of
Right.
course, because you always wanted to have that foundation, the faith foundation in the Do You movement, where it's not about being like super, religious and,
Mm.
you're the real deal. It's like you could still be you, come as you are. Nobody's perfect. It's time to do you, right? It's time to finally do you. You don't have to play by the rules in all these different ways. And I think that's your angle with the Do You movement. So talk about what the Do You movement means to you, and then what we created that first day together.
So the Do You is a women's empowerment movement where I'm help every single woman become the best version of themselves. For so long, us as women, right? We think that we have to look like someone else. Walk, talk, be, dress, hair, whatever. But you know what? I help them discover that we're not in competition with nobody because nobody can do you but you. So
Mm,
you have to find your gift, your talent, your greatness, because we're all created, right, for greatness, because that's how God created us, to find your niche. What are you good at? What is your passion? What are your talents? And then I come along and pull those things out and help you discover the real you, the true you. And now you can be the best version of yourself by just doing you, right?
mhm, mhm,
I love it because nobody can be Chandra but Chandra, right?
right.
Nobody Linda but Linda. So there's no competition. And as women, for so long, we thought we had to compete with others. But no matter how hard we try, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can do you like you. So why not be the best you? Why not be the best version of yourself and then discover who you really are, and then you can help other ladies discover their greatness. And that's really what Do You is all about, empowering them to be the best version of themselves. And so I had this, I got tired of seeing women, even in the church, not living their best life ever, or not living according to who God says they are, wonderfully and marvelously made. And so I said, this has to stop. We need to help these women to be to see who God sees them as, and then help them grow there, come alongside them and encourage them and empower them and inspire them and give them tools so that they can start living out their best life ever. And this is where you came in, Sean. I had this vision. I knew what I wanted to do, but I couldn't put the pieces together. How was I going to, make this happen? Especially, the tools part. How
Yeah.
was I going to be able to help these women on a daily basis, right? Where they could come somewhere and get this, get this empowerment, get this inspiration, get these tools every day. Well, that's where you came up with the, with the Do You exclusive executive club, and then went to the VIP, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, you just helped me in the first half hours. You said, you know what, boom, 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 list those 6 things, and in uh, what was it, an hour? We had all 6 things listed,
Yeah.
and
Laid
uh,
out.
you got with your people, and they made it happen, and bang, there it is.
And you created video tutorials, video
Yes,
lessons, and
yes,
programs all behind it. And it's all virtual, right?
yes,
Started
mhm,
filming with Buford
yes.
and doing all your videos, your promo videos and marketing. And, at the end of the day, you probably were like, oh, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was, right? Just sometimes we just don't know what we don't know, right?
Exactly.
And we have somebody else knows the resources just to put it all together and to help you figure it out and go faster instead of you racking your brain trying to figure it out yourself. Let me just get to the source that I know could help me, and we figured that out together. But I was excited because, like I said, I knew Pastor Sonny, I knew of him, and then now you were kind of like, okay, it's my time to come out. And the good thing about it is that Pastor is 100% behind you,
Yes.
pushing you, very supportive of the Do You movement. And, and you coming out as this leader that I'm sure the people in the church knew, right?
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
people in the church knew you of this dynamic leader that you were already, but you expanding outside of that in your own movement and doing that, I think has been amazing because I know just from me, your leadership is very important to me, and I get inspired every time you speak. So I know that the new people that don't know you from outside of the church are very inspired when they hear you, right? And I can see the elevation from you starting to do it's not just Pastor Sonny Laura and his wife. It's Pastor Sonny Laura and Dr. Linda Laura together, as a team. You stepped into your own leadership role,
Right.
right? Can you talk
Yeah.
about like that transition a little
Yeah.
bit?
Well, I already knew I was born to leader. My mom would prophesy to me every day. She said, "I, Mija, you're unique. I,
Yeah,
Mija, you're right." So
yeah.
I always knew I stood out, and
Hmm.
know in what area,
Right.
until I began to start the school that I also have, which is the Future
Mhm.
Leader Academy, where I'm the professor of the school. Right,
Right.
created the school, and to help empower and develop life skills, whether it's spiritually, right, whether it's um, helping them at work, in every area, develop the fullness of who they are in character, attitude, right, and so when I began to start that school, it was just for women, right? I started off with 10 women,
Yeah.
and then women were soaring and roaring and
Yeah.
growing, and and the men said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 wait a minute!
We want some of this.
Hey, my wife's coming home now,
Mhm.
and she's a whole new person, right?" I get people that were shy and want to be sit in the back, are now in the forefront,
Yeah.
right? So right there, when that began to happen, I knew that I was, stepping into a whole new position of leading people into their greatness and helping them establish who they really are.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the Future Lead Academy, it's a life development school, but it's based and founded on the foundation of the Bible, right? So it's all um, fundamental, based on who God is, and His
Mhm.
call on your life, but then helping them in everyday life, helping them have you know great skills, helping them to become the leader, to be the head and not the tail, according to the Bible, right? The Bible says we're the head, and
Mhm.
we're not the tail. And I ask them, does anybody know where the tail is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they all get a visual. I said, that's right, in between two butt cheeks. And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be smelling crap all day. So I'm refusing to be a tail. I'm going to be the head with hair up there, right?
And that's another part, y'all. You have met Dr. Linda Laura. She is funny. Okay, while she's preaching, she gonna make you laugh at the same time. I love
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
when they begin to see that visual, right, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Why would I want to be a tail when I could be the head, right? And
Yes.
they begin to see themselves as God created them, because He created us all, in the same pattern, and that is to,
Mhm.
to lead. And so
Yes.
that's where that got started from.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so like you said that you started that and then but then
Mhm.
you felt a calling to do something else for women, right?
Yeah,
And more empowerment. That's the education, right? Their
yes,
degree and leading them into possibly, being in ministry in some
right.
form or fashion, right? But then the Do You movement was more of you seeing people in maybe your congregation or throughout, when you travel around
Hmm.
the world and you're seeing women that are not living in their being themselves, right? They feel they
Right.
have to compete. They feel they have to conform to society, to a certain job or career, or like that person's better than me. I can't do what she does because she's Chandra Brooks. That's why she's able to do it. You're like, no, you could do it too, right? I'm no special, right? You're nobody special. We made a decision
Exactly.
we made a decision that I was just going to do what God gave me to do. That gut feeling that says, Chandra, you have something inside of you that you need to share with the world. And I'm feeding this to you, and you got to execute, right? We made a decision to execute the vision that God gave us. Everybody has it. Everybody has an idea. God has planted in there and said, this is your purpose, go and do it. But some people are too scared.
Yes.
They're comparing themselves, everything from society, from their family life to whatever that has made them feel defeated, insecure, low confidence to really get out there and execute,
That's
right?
right.
So that's why coaching and
Yeah.
encouragement and empowerment programs are so important because we need somebody just to believe in us a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And push us,
And
right?
that's And the key is that the Bible says that He gave us all ability. So everything that He's called us to do, we have the ability to do it. What
Mhm.
happens is we try to step out of that ability and do something that we don't have the gift. I tell everybody, I'm not an opera singer, right? Oh, yeah, I'll demonstrate. So if I my whole life trying to be an opera singer and never have the ability, I didn't have the ability to be, I'm going to be discouraged, right? I'm gonna feel less than. I'm gonna feel like, wow, I'm not adequate. Well, because that's not my ability. So
Mhm.
find what you're good at. And that's what I love about what you do. We need coaches. We need people to come alongside of us and begin to pull out and to help us
Find
make
that gift, right?
that's right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do it at the top, right?
Yeah.
I could never have done Chandra, what you done for me. I wanted to.
Mhm.
Okay, but that wasn't my ability. That wasn't my gift. So I
Exactly.
didn't say, forget it. I'm
Yeah.
never, I found help, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Find the help, find the
Can't be
coach.
too proud, right? You can't
No.
be too proud because at the end of the day, like you think about it, people, really their ego. And I had a one friend that always said, "Your ego is not your amigo. Your ego is not your amigo," because honestly, our ego will get in the way of our
and
next level, right?
that,
Because
and you
we,
know what?
I'll
The
figure it
great
out myself.
and the greatest investment we can ever make is in ourselves.
Yes.
You know what? And you know what? A lot of women don't do that. Oh, I'd love to, but my husband, I love to, but my kids, I love to. I'm like, how are you going to help them if you yourself are not helped? I mean, even on the airplane, they tell you if there's, the
Mhm.
air pressure goes, grab the mask. And what do they tell you?
Put
Put
yourself first. Yeah,
on
be yourself first.
yourself first. Why? Because if you're not breathing, how are you going to help other people? So
Exactly.
at our best, and we haven't discovered our greatness, how are we going to help others?
I
You
know just by me being an entrepreneur, me being, my kids seeing me and how I roll and what I do every day, and
Mhm.
they see me on social media all the time. My kids are like, "Mom, you post more than anybody I know." But them seeing the way I move and what I do, it's taught them to want to be entrepreneurs, right? They think differently. They are go getters. They have vision and ideas, and even when it comes out of my mouth to them, they're rolling their eyes or be like, yeah, 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 mom. But I'm seeing the movement and with the things that they say, I'm programming them, right, to be independent and to be an entrepreneur, have entrepreneurial thinking, right? So I know that me living in my gift is blessing them,
Man,
right?
that's
It's blessing them, and me investing in myself constantly growing and all of that. I'm doing it for them, right? And that's what we have to see it as, because we put everybody's needs first. As
mhm.
mothers, as women, it's what about this, or I have to check with my husband first, or and that's fine. You gotta make
Yeah,
decisions and that, but don't put it off because you don't want to talk to him about it, right? A lot of people just won't go have that discussion because they don't want to start that conversation. But you have to have these conversations about investing in yourself. And then if for some reason that person doesn't want to support you, then you have to look and see what's going on there, right? And it's a
yep,
deeper issue if you have a partner that doesn't want to help you grow too,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So that's a whole nother, uh,
yeah.
right? That's a whole nother Sunday sermon,
I'll
right?
preach, I'll preach.
Right. But we have to be able to stop and say, if we don't invest in ourselves, then we're no good for anybody else, right? If our cup isn't full, how are we going to fill other people's cups, you
Yeah.
know, too?
And
So,
at the end of the day, we're accountable for ourselves, right?
mhm,
At the end of the day, we're going to stand before ourselves. It's not going to be. I tell everybody I'm my husband's helpmate, and I take my job serious, but I help him
yeah.
when he doesn't want.
How does Dr. Sunny feel about the Do You movement? What is
Oh, supports me. When he even came with me to Texas.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Because he's right there. He sees the change. He sees these women, right, that were timid or had low self-esteem, low self-worth, are now arising and coming to to who they really are. And he just loves seeing that, because he knows them. He knows their background. He knows how
Mhm.
they were shy, sitting in the back, and all of a sudden they're standing up, they're being a voice. And that's what I another thing too is we need to be the voice. I'm tired of people speaking on my behalf.
Yes,
Uh
yes.
tell you, we went to Texas,
Yeah.
and Texas, oh my God, they're a red state, right? And
Mhm.
what they said, you're welcome, but don't bring your California politics.
Oh, wow.
And I'm all, what did you just say? Oh, I went off. And let me tell you, because they lump us together as California. I'm my own.
Mhm. Right.
I vote for who I want to vote for. I
Mhm.
stand for truth. I don't care,
Yeah, yeah.
what's going on. That's not my issue. But what really got me upset is that they lumped California as, everybody is this way of thinking,
Yeah,
this way of talking. I said,
right,
you know
right.
what? That's not true. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Don't put me in that category. I
yeah,
have my voice. I stand for what's true.
yeah.
I'm not going to go against what's contrary to the word of God. I don't care who isn't president, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But they
That's
were like, whoa, because I'm tired of people labeling us, or putting us in a box, right? And
mhm.
this just because we're part of something else.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that's amazing that you let's talk about that. You've taken the Do You movement all the way to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to Hawaii, and
Mm-hmm.
you got other locations and churches across the country lined up and ready to go across California. So just talk about that, like how the word is getting out about it. And you do one event, and then hey, come to my church. You come to my church. You come to my church. And I want to use that as an example to let people know, because people want to a lot of people have movements. A lot of women have something inside of them, like they want to empower women in
Mm-hmm.
some way, form, or fashion, and they just have no idea how to really make it grow, right? How to really make it grow. Let's talk about that. How is that going when you do one event, then somebody else hears about it? How are you growing it this way?
Well, number one, you can't be afraid to ask, right? You can't be afraid to throw yourself out there. Nobody's going to know who you are unless you throw yourself out there. And that's what I'm doing with the Do You movement. I'm just throwing it out there. Every area, any opportunity, anybody I'm talking with, you know, I bring it up. I said, you know what? I have this empowerment movement, if anybody, in your city and I just start the conversation. And once the conversation started, right, they're like, wow, we need that over here. Oh my God, this is what we've been looking for. This is what we need. So just starting the conversation opens up the door. You
Yeah.
know, we just can't have something and not talk about it, right? We have to
Mhm.
let people know it exists.
Yeah.
Because once the conversation starts, it's like, oh my God, this is exactly what we've been looking for. This is exactly what we've been wanting. And
Hmm.
so number one is start the conversation. Let people know. And one thing I did too is I raised up a team around me. It's
Yeah.
not just Linda Lara, right? I raised up a team who they have the same passion, right? They have the same vision. And so they're starting conversations. So it's not a, Dr. Linda Lara movement. It's a Do You women's empowerment. So I'm empowering as many women possible, and they're seeing the effect of it, and they're running with it. One of the mistakes that I believe that the church does is they make it a single person movement.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's the person, and then they want that person, or if that. But if you're empowering other people, they have your vision, they have your heart, so they can expand it, right? They can,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what's happening. One of the girls that are on our team had new women in Texas. They drove 2.5 hours to get to the Do You.
Wow.
Yeah, because of one of my team leaders, had shared that we were going to be in Texas, and now they want us to go over there. I mean, it just grows on itself
Yeah. Yeah.
once you make it visible, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, you create it. You have to create it, right? What if you didn't? Then all these women wouldn't have been served. All these women would not be finally empowered to really do themselves and really focus on themselves. And from what we created, you created a membership, and you said like the VIP program, and we even talked about pricing and how to
Mhm.
do that, and really, not being ashamed to charge, right? Because you've invested in yourself. I've invested in myself. It doesn't have to be a taboo thing. Everything in the church doesn't have to be, free all the time, and giving of yourself and being a servant. Yeah, we are served. We serve, overly serve, right? You are constantly serving and giving and pouring of yourself, but it's okay to be paid for your gift. It's
That-
okay to be paid for a program like this, but it's very low, low cost and economical for the people that you want to serve, right? But we have to invest in ourselves and have a buy-in, because if we don't invest and put money behind something, we don't put an effort towards it.
mm,
No, if we when we get free events, right? We sign up for free events. If we don't go, we're like, oh well, okay, it was free. I'm not gonna go. But but if we drop $500 for an
yeah,
event, we're gonna be there.
you know how many people I gave free scholarships to the Future Lead
Yeah,
Academy, and not one person has, to this day, not one person has completed it.
exactly, exactly. And I've given complete, like, 75% discount on Powerhouse Academy to certain people, and they didn't complete, and they
No,
didn't take action on anything in the academy. So I learned my lesson. You've learned your lesson, and everybody here is watching you learn your lesson. It's like, don't expect free,
no.
right? Anything that's worth having is going to cost you some money, right? And we will spend money on an iPhone, on Jordans. We
Come
will
on.
go finance a car. We will go finance a big ass house,
That's
but
it.
we will not finance ourselves.
That's right.
We will not finance into ourselves.
Hmm.
I learned that lesson years ago, right? I will finance my ass off. I'm sorry, excuse my language, uh, but I will, to get to where, because I know I'm the hottest commodity. I
That's
got the gift, right? We need to
yeah.
invest in me, just like you. We realize that gift.
Yeah.
We
And
have,
and other thing, women don't understand their value.
yes,
You know, if something if you think something is of no value, you're not going to invest in it. But if you understand the value of who you are and what you bring to the table, and one thing you said, you've invested all these years, right? I
yes,
don't know. I've been to went to college. I went to
yeah,
all these different things, and if you don't understand the value of what it took you to get where you're at, then it's of
exactly.
significance. You have to understand, you worked hard to get where you're at.
Hmm.
All you're doing is trying to help others not go through all that to get to where they're at. Cut through all the chase, right? Cut through
Yes.
all those years and boom, get there
Mhm.
fast. And that's what you're investing in.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think I've invested like $50,000 in coaching in myself. I had to
Hmm.
figure out, I had to do every visibility coach. I had a sales coach. I had a scaling coach to help me grow. Like I had marketing, all these different coaches to get to where I'm at now and to what I know now. And I tell people, like, don't try to go high, because what happens, what I see is people, they're like, let me go see all the coaches Chandra had, and let me go just hire all those coaches Chandra had, and I'm gonna do what Chandra does because she had all these coaches. You going about the wrong way, and you're going to go spend a whole lot of money, because my coaches charge, they probably charge double now what they were
Yeah.
charging before, right? So why not hire me,
And
right?
get it all. And get
Yeah,
it all.
and get it all, and get it all, but a lot of, I just watch people, and I see a lot of people try to do that. They want to know, like, who helped you, instead of, their pride and their ego will not let them just hire me
I
to
know.
help them, right? And you're going about it the wrong way, because like you said, nobody can do it like me, and nobody's gonna do it like you. I'm never worried about anybody stealing anything from me, or doing, I've had people steal my curriculum. I've had people try to create things like me, and like, go ahead, like, I don't
Mhm.
care. You run with it, do your thing, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be powerhouse. It's not
Mm-mm.
going to be how I do it, and it's not
Nope.
going to be how you do it. So I am never worried about competition,
Yeah.
ever, right? Ever. I don't
Nope.
compete. So I you have the membership, you have the VIP program, you've gone to Texas, it's going to go to Hawaii or Lodi, Modesto. All these different locations are having you come out to their, like, what is the vision for it moving forward?
The vision is to help get the women empowered so
Mhm.
that they can begin to help empower other ladies, right?
Yeah.
A movement is, when you create a movement, it has to move, right?
Mhm.
It can't stay still. It has to keep moving. So the vision is to get women moving so that they can move others, and as it grows, who knows, there's no limit to it. I
Yeah.
mean, oh, we're going to be able to expand, and not only in what we're doing now, but I know that we're going to be get new creative ideas and expand. Our next um do you workshop that we're doing is from trauma to
Trying.
triumph. And so now we're helping on the mental issues, right? Helping people have women have a strong mental capacity, where we're gonna break those strongholds, come against those tormenting spirits, those lies that have been dealt to them year after year. Break those things off.
Mhm.
And the one before that, you were part of that. We did the
The
entrepreneur,
business one,
yeah,
yeah.
business one. And so just keep on, with those kind of subjects to help women in different areas. Maybe not everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur, or be in business, but there's different women that have, that need mental wellness, get
Yeah.
their mind and their thinking stronger. So
Yeah.
we're going to come up with these different, do you workshops in different areas so that we can touch different people, women according to where they're at or where they need the help
What
at.
they need. Yeah, yeah. And that's what I love about your movement is that you change themes. You're doing entrepreneurial. You're
Mhm.
doing, from is it from tragedy to triumph, or
Trauma.
from trauma to triumph?
Uh-huh.
These different things that that you're doing in the different cities, and you're keeping the branding, right, is still do you, right?
Yes.
Still do you, the messaging. And what I love is when you come to a do you event, you're going to have swag that they're selling. They have the backdrop to take a picture,
Yeah.
right there's just opportunity just to engage in it. And a lot of people want to do stuff like this, but they
Hmm.
don't go and do it, right? They feel like everybody's doing woman empowerment, everybody's doing that. No, there's plenty of room for all of us. We all have our own specific gift. Like, that's why I really focus on you, that this is faith based, right? This is faith. The foundational work that you do is faith based, but
Right.
it's still woman empowerment. You can do both together. It doesn't have to be either or, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be, or it could be
Mhm.
only, and
Yeah.
it could be only, right? But it could blend, and you can have something like this. And a lot of people are scared to
Yeah.
really take action in that way. And you're doing it, and you're doing it in a unique type of way, because I'm sure you've seen other
Mhm.
faith-based women empowerment movements, but nobody's like you, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do it like you.
No. And also what we love about is building a community. You know,
Hmm.
community where women can feel safe, right? Meet other women, and become part of that community where they can actually reach out, and build friendships and relationships with other women. That is a big thing about the Do You Too. A
Yeah,
lot of women come to these, workshops or conferences or whatever it is that we're having, and they're building relationship with, you know
yeah.
different women who now they've become good friends. So it's also building a community of women that are needing that.
Yeah, and that's one thing I remember we did, because you already had a solid core group of women leaders in your church, right?
Hmm.
That were part of just the leadership of the church. But
Hmm.
these women ended up being do you leaders now,
Right.
and we came and trained them
Yeah.
to all have their own roles and
Hmm.
positions in the do you movement, right? Marketing, enrollment, and like all these different projects. Some of our speakers and some of speak at all the events, but everybody has a role on the team to grow this. And I think that's part of the success of the do you movement, is that each person on that team had a specific role, and everybody knows what they're doing, right? It takes time to grow, and things change, and everybody doesn't do their job.
Uh-huh.
But it's part of growing pains as you're growing a movement or growing any type of company or business. You learn, but I think part of that, they have a purpose now, a very specific. I'm part of the do you leadership team,
Right. Right.
right? Right.
Another-
How has that been?
that's another thing you really came in and helped us build.
Hmm.
You helped us, put those positions together, and now they're running with it. So it's running smoother. And after every, conference or workshop or whatever, we come together and said, hey, how can we do better in this area, and what worked, what didn't work, and you know,
Hmm.
after every single one of them, and making it bigger, better,
Yeah, instead of everybody doing the same thing, right?
or
Because I
not
before
knowing what
that, huh?
or knowing what to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, they want to be a part of it, right? And you wanted all these women to be a part of it, but some women were posting, and like two
Mhm.
women were doing all the posts, and like, so
Yeah.
one person wanted to do that, one person wanted to do that, and it's just like, what do you do best? Let's
Right.
put people in positions on what they do best, right?
Exact.
And then let's figure out new roles for other people, right? Just
Exact.
organize it and make it flow a little better,
Yeah.
right? And really create that solid team, to help you grow the do you movement, so we can be more productive. And
Exact.
I'm just excited. I love to see it growing. Like, that's why I haven't I've only interviewed now, because it just like happens so
Yeah.
fast. Right, where I was just like, dang. And I seen, doing it was another location. I was like,
Uh,
oh, I got to get Dr. Linda, because this came from an idea at the
yeah.
Capitol Club at the table. So
Yeah.
we have to share, because to me, I love vision and ideas, and seeing them come to, realization, right? And become a real thing. because a lot of people that follow me or that follow you, they're dreamers, right? They're
Right.
dreamers. They have dreams, but they don't move.
Right.
They just sit on the sidelines and cheer us on.
Yeah.
I appreciate your cheers, everybody. I do. I love you to death. Okay. I love all. And Dr. Linda, I know you are second me on this. We love you, but
Uh-huh.
I want you to move. I don't want you to be sitting cheering me on, sharing my stuff, telling people about me, and you ain't doing it. You're not
That's
doing anything, right?
yeah. And you know what? From that workshop that you did with us, the business one,
Hmm.
I already have people coming and said, you know what? Because of that workshop, I stepped out and I'm starting my business. I'm starting my nonprofit,
Yeah.
and because that's what they need.
Yeah. They need encouragement. They need coaching. They need support. You need to take action. But, Dr. Linda Laura, I appreciate you being on here with me and sharing your story on how we work together. I honor and I appreciate you hiring me and trusting me to be that for you. And anytime you need me, I'm there for you. At every event, I am
Awesome.
there, front and
Thank
center. Talk about your next event, and then also talk about, I know you don't have any more tickets for this
you.
weekend, but talk about the premiere that you guys have going on this Saturday too.
Okay, so our next Do You workshop is June 24th. It's at our building, 175 Burnell Road, Suite 102. And again, it's from trauma to triumph, and it's on mental wellness, helping you strengthen the most valuable commodity we have is our mind, right?
Yes.
And if we're not um, feeling or believing in ourselves, and we're not thinking correctly, we make bad and wrong choices. So this workshop is all about helping you strengthen your mental wellness and get you to believe and to think according to what's great, what's good, what's positive, and what's going to help you become the best version of yourself.
Love
And
it.
then Saturday we have a premiere where it's a documentary on the story of my husband and myself and how we went from trauma to triumph. Right? And it's just a documentary on how we started and how God is now using us. So we're really excited. Again, another thing that Chandra did was hook us up with Buford, right?
Yeah.
Doing a wonderful job. I mean,
He did the documentary?
yeah, he did the
Oh,
documentary. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
he did my documentary. He did your
I know that
documentary. I love it.
when I seen yours, I
Yeah.
said, you know what? We need him to do ours.
Yeah. He's great at it. He's great at
Yeah.
it.
So that's what it's really basically our story on how we started from the bottom, almost like Jenny from the block, start bottom.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I
Uh,
love it. Well, I'm excited because I know your story and your guys' story, and it's inspiring, right? And it's like you could come from just pastor being in prison for so many years, your guys' marriage almost ending, and all that, and then coming back, and then coming how you guys are now, and what you've grown to, what you are now, right? Probably back then you guys probably thought you couldn't imagine where you're at
no,
right now and the work that you guys are
no
doing, right? Where you were, when pastor was in. Oh, lost you again.
way.
Are you there? Okay, there you go. But I know you guys
Yeah.
couldn't imagine where you are now back then. So
And then it's going to be on Netflix, it's going to be on Spotify and all those other streaming channels. So we're really excited.
well, I can't wait. I'll be there on Saturday,
Right.
enjoying the event with you all. But again, follow Dr. Linda Laura. She'll be tagged in this post. Go put her name into Facebook, Instagram, and you'll be able to find all the information about her church. Go visit her church. If you're in San Jose, you want a great church, go check them out. But anyway, Dr. Linda Laura, thank you again for being on here. I appreciate you. Love you so much. I'll see you Saturday. Everybody, thank you for watching, and you guys have a great and blessed day. Take care.
Awesome. All
Bye-bye.
right. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye bye.